Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Lindsay Anderson Show. Today, we're talking about the top 5 critical elements of a high converting sales script. And today's a special day because I am here doing the Lindsay Anderson Show from a little Idaho getaway. So I'm here. I love to talk about sales. It's one of my favorite things that I love about having a successful online business and having the processes and the systems in place to actually grow your business is you can go on vacation for a week, hop in and do a live, and the business continues to run. And so I love to do it. And I hope everybody's enjoying their summer. I know we're enjoying a very lovely time here in Idaho. So let's hop into the 5 critical elements of a high converting sales script. And I'm live here on Instagram. Hey, Instagram, so nice to see you guys. And I'm here live also on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So, hey, everybody, I'm so glad everybody is here today. So before I hop into the 5 critical portions of a high converting sales script, I want to make sure that you are signed up for my upcoming masterclass called the September Sales Surge. Now, I know we're late in the summer. In fact, it's August 1st right now. And a lot of people, either you have taken the time off and lost some of the momentum in your business, or you're frustrated because all of your clients, the people that you want to sign up for your high ticket packages and programs, they're all off gallivanting on vacation, telling you they'll get back to you later, letting you know, hey, I'm not ready to make any kind of change or any kind of decision right now. Swing back in September. And so these can be the August like doldrums, the September slowdown where you're really feeling the lack of sales. However, I like to view it a little bit differently. I get excited when it's August 1st because if you start now and prepare for the sales in September, you can take some serious advantage of the September sales surge. But you have to start now. If you wait until after Labor Day, then you will just be waiting. You'll be just starting to get going. Okay. You won't really know, like, what's my message? What am I supposed to do? I guess I'm just going to like scramble now that everybody is saying yes. And you don't have the opportunity to really take advantage of what happens in September. So I get excited on August 1st because it's time to prepare. We got to prepare for September. And if you start now, magic happens in September. You can get more sales. You can onboard more people than ever. And it really comes down to getting your audience ready right now, making sure that you have a conversion system in place. You're on social media, you're connecting, you're nurturing those relationships, you're posting content, getting people excited and knowing who you are. You're showing up in their feeds while they're on vacation, right? The social media algorithms are working in your favor. And then you need a conversion event. How do I get them off of social and actually like talking to me so that I can become the trusted source? Well, I recommend an invite only event, but you don't want to give your first webinar. This is a webinar that is set up as a group sales call, but you don't want the first time you give this invite only event to be September, because remember this, the first time you give it will totally suck. Okay, you'll get exponentially better when you give the same webinar. You understand who your audience is. You're hearing on the sales calls. Was that the right message? Is this the right person? And you get better. Okay, you get 50% better the second time you do it. And so you practice this invite only event a couple times here in August. And then by the time September hits, you can really hit those sales calls. So it's the 3 things you need. You need to get your audience ready right now. You need a conversion event, how to get that audience off of social and actually in front of you, and then how to close on a sales call, because that's how you're actually going to build, take the most advantage of that relationship and convert people into your business. And so in the September Sales Surge Masterclass, I'm going to be going over these 3 steps and what you need to be doing right now in order to take the most advantage of the September Sales Surge. So all you need to do to get there is head over to lindsayanderson.live, get your ticket, and I will share with you what you need to do right now to really take advantage of that. So nice to see you guys. Love to see you guys here on Instagram and Facebook. Love to see everybody here. If you tell me in the comments, tell me what kind of business owner are you? Okay, tell me in the comments. I want to know who I have joining me today. So let's talk about the five critical elements of a high converting sales script. So I love gap selling. Do I have any gap selling fans in the audience here? And what gap selling is, it helps you really build trust with that person on the other side of the phone and be able to understand where they're at, where they want to be, put your services right there between them as a solution and be able to convert them on the phone. And so the first thing, okay, step one of a high converting sales script, you really want to build that trust and get those prospects to buy from you. You have to understand where your prospect is. What is going on with them? What are your pain points? How does this affect your life? How important is this to you? And a lot of times, salespeople miss this, okay? What they're trying to find in there is, what are they saying where I can't wait till I can actually sell my stuff to them. But the key is if you understand their current state and how this affects them, it has nothing to do with you. And I love this, write this down, okay? During understanding their current state, if you can name what they think their biggest problem is, your sales calls will go a whole lot better, okay? It's not what you think their biggest problem is, because you're an expert. You can see they have 25 problems, but they don't see that. And you don't want to be on your sales calls convincing them. So instead, you got to go in really trying to understand, what do they think their biggest problem is? Because you won't convince anybody that they have a different problem than they actually came to the call with. Say yes in the comments if that makes sense. Hey, everybody, so nice to see you. So great to see everybody here. So number one, you have to identify where they are, what they think their biggest problem is. The second thing that you need to determine is where they want to go. Again, this isn't what your dreams and your hopes are. And a lot of people will put their own perspective onto all their prospects and be like, well, I want $1 million business where I get to travel and I get to work with really amazing people and I get to build businesses to multi-millions. That's what that's me. I'm assuming that's what everybody else wants, but it's not. And so you have to make sure you're not putting your own perceptions or just assuming everybody wants the future state that you want onto your client. And so when you're identifying the future state on a sales call and you're asking the right questions to identify this state, you have to know, what do they want most of all? Why do they need an answer to their problem? Has nothing to do with you. And so you got to ask the right questions. So of course, on a sales call, you got to know where they're at, their current state, and you got to know where they're going and why it's important to them. And this has nothing to do with you. Okay. The third step of a high converting sales script. Oh, so great. I'm so glad you guys are really resonating with this. That's right. What do they want? I want to do a quick announcement here. Okay. Before we get to step number 3, and make sure if you're just joining us, I see a lot of people joining us. Make sure you're signed up for the September Sales Surge Masterclass. Head over to lindsayandderson.live and get a ticket. We talk all about this and how to really get going on your September sales surge. Okay, lindsayandderson.live. So number 1, current state. Number 2, future state. Number 3, and write this down because this is really important and where most people aren't going to do, and that is quantifying the gap. Okay, in terms of the cost, the efficiency, the revenue, you've got to be able to quantify, meaning put into numbers, black and white data on how much this is costing them or what this is costing them. And so what does this look like? Let me give you an example. Okay. Let's say somebody, what's a really good example? Like somebody is trying to improve their business processes. Okay. Maybe they're trying to do social media. They're trying to build out their social media. And they're like, you know what? I'm just looking for a strategy on how to build a high quality audience on social media. and I'm trying all of these things and nothing seems to be working. And so in order to qualify the gap or to quantify the gap, I'm going to say something like this. Okay. So how many hours a week are you working on social media? Okay. And I get them down to the hours. Well, I don't know. It just seems like forever. It seems like forever. I'm just trying all these things. You say, okay, how many hours a day are you spending on social media? And get them to say, hey, you know what? I'm spending 4 hours on social media a day and I'm not getting any clients. And so in order to quantify the gap, then it's like without a strategy and without a system to build a high quality lead machine on social media, you are wasting 4 hours a day. And so when you can give someone the quantify, okay, the black and white numbers, there's not a lot that their emotions can do to argue with that. And so numbers are the way to like bridge the communication between your prospect and your service. Is I will help you with these numbers, and everybody has them. Okay, everybody has them. I have a health and wellness doctor who helps women get pregnant after they've tried in vitro and they've tried all of the things. So the way she would quantify the gap is, okay, she can really help them even if after they've tried all of these things. So she quantifies the gap by saying, how long have you been trying to get pregnant? Exactly 9 months. Okay. And how long until like you don't, like maybe you're getting older. Like how long do you literally have before if you don't get pregnant, there's going to be like, you won't be able to have this option. And you can get those two numbers and you just say it back to them. And it becomes very clear to them what is at risk if they don't take you up on their solution in black and white numbers. Okay. Hey, everybody. So nice to see you guys. Great to see everybody today. All right. The third thing is presenting the solution. So now that you know where their current state is, now that you know where their future state is, now that you've talked a whole bunch of numbers to them, it's time to present the solution. And my advice here is like, you don't just go into a whole script about, and here's my solution, and you just word salad and overwhelm them with their solution. The most effective way to close people during the presenting the solution is you take the words that they used in the future state, okay? And the other state, the current state and the future state, and you repeat it back to them with your solution. So I would say, based on the fact that you are spinning your wheels on social media, trying to build a high quality audience, based on the fact that you aren't making the sales because you do not have the lead pool that you need in order to make those sales, my Content That Converts program will help you effectively build that social media audience and give you a step-by-step strategy on what you need to do every day in order to build a high-quality audience of high-quality leads. So I used their words and where they want to be, okay, in order to do that. Even better, if we know that they need, 100 leads in order to close 5 sales, then we can say, when you start generating high quality leads on social media, look at how many more sales you'll be able to make. And so the final step, let me go over the 4. Okay. You got to know their current state. You got to know their future state. You got to quantify the gap. Then you're going to present the solution. And then finally, you want to be able to close the sale. And this is after you share with your prospect. That is my program. You're walking them through. Does that make sense? Very slowly. It's back and forth. During the offer, you are dancing with your prospect. It's not the Lindsay show. And I'm just going to tell you all about my program. We're going back and forth. Does that make sense? Do you think you would find that helpful? And we're dancing during the offer stage. A lot of people get really worked up in the offer stage and they want to get it over as quickly as possible. Like, here it all is so that I can finally like get over the scary part and offer my thing. And so instead, slow it down and dance, okay? And so when it comes time to close the sale, you want to address the gap. This is where you were. This is where you are. This is where you want to be. These are very clearly the steps you need to take in order to get there. And during the closing the sale part, You want to handle objections. My favorite way, I know what you're saying. Hey, Lindsay, what's the best way to handle objections? Like the whole pricing objection, or there's 100 objections. And my answer is always the same. Here's how you handle an objection. They object, oh, Lindsay, that seems like a lot of money. I don't know. That seems like a big investment. I don't know. My next words are always, so it sounds like you think that is a really big investment. Can you tell me more about that? And then they will open up and tell you even more about that so you can actually start getting some information on what the real reason is. Because most people on a sales call have their default answer. They've been sold to before and they're always like, it's a cost thing, it's a cost thing, it's a cost thing. But if you can get them to say something that they've never said before on a sales call, you surprise them with this question, make them go a little bit deeper. Don't take those surface answers and actually listen to them. You will be able to successfully and successfully and systematically close more sales. All right. So those are the 5 steps. Let's go over them. Before I do that, make sure you're signed up for my masterclass. Go to lindsayanderson.live, September Sales Surge. I'll share with you how to prep your audience, your social media audience, for optimal sales in September. Do not wait till September to get all of this worked out. Make sure you go to my masterclass. So here you go. Here are the 5 steps. Number 1, understanding the current state where your prospect is, really understanding and answering the question. What do they think their biggest problem is? What do they think their biggest problem is? Number 2, where they want to go, identify the future state. Where do they want to be? Why is this so important to them, not to you? Don't put your own perspective and assume everybody wants what you want. 3, quantify the gap. Get some numbers out there so you can actually speak to numbers instead of emotions. Present the solution clearly, dancing with your prospect, asking them if that works for them, if that makes sense, slowing down the sale. And then you close it up by hearing their objections, okay, and getting them to sign when it's clear in front of them, okay? If they wait 3 days, if you let them off the call without closing them and wait 3 days, they forget all of the amazing things you discussed on the call. So you want to do everything you can while they're clearly looking black and white at everything you've done to actually get signed up. Otherwise, their ego will take over and they'll think of all the reasons why they can't sign up today. All right. Thank you so much for joining me on this very special on-location episode of The Lindsay Anderson Show. Thanks to everybody for joining me. I am live every single week at this time for The Lindsay Anderson Show on LinkedIn and YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. So glad to be here. Have a great day ahead and cheers to you and your success.